You ever get that feeling, like when you're scrolling through videos online, your thumb's getting a workout from all the swiping?
Oh, yeah.
It's a battle for attention out there. But there's this secret weapon, I think, to make viewers hit pause and actually watch your content. A killer opening question.
Interesting.
Today we're going deep, a real deep dive into Chapter 6 of SEO Success Blueprint.
Okay.
And this chapter is all about crafting those irresistible, hook-worthy questions, for video intros.
It's pretty fascinating, actually. A simple question can totally make or break your video success.
For real.
Yeah, and this chapter really nails it. It's not just about any question.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into the viewer's emotions right from the start.
It's got to be more than hey, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, exactly.
So what kind of questions are we talking about here?
Okay, well, think about the problems that your viewers are facing. What are their pain points? What keeps them up at night? And if you start your video by showing them, you get it, you understand their struggles, you instantly create a connection.
So like a friend saying, ugh, tell me about it, I've been there.
Yes, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Does the chapter give any examples, how to actually do this?
It does. Imagine you're making a video about, boosting click-through rates for blog posts.
Yep.
A common struggle for a lot of content creators.
Yeah.
The chapter suggests starting with something like struggling to get people to click on your blog posts, even though you're pouring your heart into them.
I can practically hear the sighs of relief from all the bloggers out there. It's you're speaking directly to their soul.
Yeah.
Validating their experience. I bet that makes them way more likely to actually listen to what you have to say.
Exactly. That's the power of empathy in a hook. But there's another element that's super crucial: curiosity.
Oh, okay.
You want your question to spark that burning desire to know more, to make them think, wait, I need to hear the answer to this.
So how do you make a question that's basically clickbait, but in the best possible way?
Okay, well, think about promising a solution or revealing a secret.
Oh.
The chapter gives this example. What if there was a way to make Google practically beg to rank your website higher?
Okay, that's pretty irresistible. It's like dangling a shiny object, but the object is actually valuable knowledge. You're piquing their interest and promising to deliver something that solves a problem they probably have.
Exactly. You're not just grabbing attention, you're offering a solution. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The chapter explains that the most effective hooks, they blend both empathy and curiosity.
So it's like a 1-2 punch.
Yes.
First you hit them with the I feel your pain, and then you're but guess what? I've got the secret sauce.
You got it.
Okay.
By combining those two elements, you're creating a powerful emotional connection and sparking that insatiable curiosity. Think about it. You're scrolling through videos, feeling frustrated about your website's ranking. Then, bam, this video pops up acknowledging your struggle and promising a solution. You be hooked.
It's like a magic formula.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how this applies to way more than just video intros too. You could use this approach for blog post titles, email subject lines, even social media posts.
Absolutely. This principle of empathy plus curiosity, incredibly versatile. It taps into fundamental human desires to be understood and to gain valuable knowledge.
Okay, so we've got the magic formula. But how do you actually craft a question that hits both of those notes? Are there any specific tips or tricks the chapter shares?
There are. One tip is to be super specific. Don't just ask a vague question want more traffic.
Right.
Instead, get really granular and address a specific pain point, tired of seeing your competitors outrank you in Google searches.
So it's the more targeted you are, the more likely you are to hit that nerve and make them go, wait, that's ME they're talking about.
Exactly. Another tip is to keep it concise. In the world of online video, you've got a very short window to capture attention. Your question should be punchy and to the point. Ideally, something that can be said in one breath.
Yeah. You don't want to lose them before you even get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
So no long-winded, rambling questions.
Right. Think of your question like a headline. It needs to be strong, impactful, and immediately clear what it's about.
I'm also wondering about the tone. Should these questions be super serious and dramatic, or more conversational and relatable?
That depends. It depends on your brand and your target audience. But generally, it's best to err on the side of conversational.
Yeah.
People respond to authenticity, so Don't be afraid to inject a little personality into your questions.
So, like, if my brand's is all about being fun and quirky, I could use a question that's a little more lighthearted.
Exactly. The key is to be true to your brand voice while still incorporating those elements of empathy and curiosity.
This is making me think about all those times I've, like, clicked on a video because the intro question was just so darn intriguing. I never thought about the psychology behind it before.
It's amazing, isn't it, how much thought goes into crafting those seemingly simple questions?
Yeah.
But when done right, they can be so effective for grabbing attention and keeping viewers engaged.
Speaking of examples, the chapter mentions a few case studies, right?
Yes.
Can you walk me through one of them?
Absolutely. There's a great example of a fitness coach.
Okay.
She was struggling to get views on her workout videos. She
Right.
was posting great content, but it was getting lost, in the sea of fitness videos online.
So she needed a way to stand out and make people actually click on our videos.
Exactly. So she decided to revamp her video intros using the strategies from this chapter. Instead of generic greetings, she started using questions that directly addressed her target audience's pain points.
Like what? Give me an example.
One of her most successful videos started with the question, "Tired of feeling intimidated by the gym?"
Okay, I can relate to that. Gyms can be, like, scary places, especially if you're new to working out.
Exactly. And that question immediately resonated with her target audience. People who wanted to get fit, but felt overwhelmed or intimidated by the gym environment.
So she tapped into that feeling of empathy, that sense of, I get it, I've been there too.
Right. But she didn't stop there. In the next sentence, she promised a solution. "In this video, I'm sharing 3 simple exercises you can do at home with no equipment necessary."
Okay, now that's just brilliant. She validated their struggle. A&D offered a solution that was accessible and appealing.
Exactly. And the results were incredible. Her views, skyrocketed. And she started getting tons of comments from people saying how much they appreciated her, relatable and practical approach.
It's like she cracked the code. By combining empathy and curiosity in her intro question, she was able to connect with her target audience on a deeper level and stand out in a crowded online space.
Exactly. It's a testament to the power of a well-crafted question.
I'm starting to think that a great intro question is like a secret handshake.
Oh, interesting.
It's a way to signal to your audience that you get them, you speak their language, and you have something valuable to offer.
I like that. That's a great analogy. It's about creating that instant connection and making them feel like they're in the right place.
Okay, so we've talked about the power of empathy and curiosity, being specific and concise, and even injecting personality into your questions. Any other tips from the chapter we should touch on?
Yeah, there's one more that's really important. Test and refine your questions. What works for one audience might not work for another. So don't be afraid to experiment with different approaches and see what resonates best with your viewers.
So it's not just a one and done kind of deal. You have to be willing to, like, tweak and adjust based on what works.
Exactly. Think of it as an ongoing process of improvement. Pay attention to your audience's feedback, analyze your video data, and be willing to make changes to your intro questions as needed.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to video intros. I used to just wing it, but now I see how much strategy goes into crafting those first few seconds.
It's an investment worth making. A compelling intro question can make a huge difference in your video's success, helping you grab attention, build a connection with your audience, and keep them engaged till the very end.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground when it comes to crafting those, like, killer intro questions. But there's another element of video intros that's crucial: the hook itself.
You're talking about the actual content that follows your question, right?
Yeah,
That's where you have to deliver on the promise you made and keep your viewers hooked.
exactly. So how do you create a hook that's just as compelling as your intro question? Let's dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Right. A great question is really just the first step.
Okay.
Chapter 6 of SEO Success Blueprint actually goes beyond just the question
Okay.
and into what makes the hook work overall.
Okay. So we've got them curious. Now, how do we, keep them on the line?
Okay, well, it's all about delivering on the promise you set up with that initial question. Think of it like a movie trailer. You get a glimpse of the excitement. But then if the movie itself doesn't deliver,
Right.
you feel let down.
Yeah. So no bait and switch tactics allowed. We've got to give the people what we promised. What are some ways to do that?
One approach that the chapter highlights is starting with a bold statement or a surprising statistic, something that immediately grabs their attention
Okay.
and makes them think, whoa, I didn't know that.
So if my video is about, say, the power of email marketing, I might start with a stat like email marketing has an ROI of 4,300%. That's $43 back for every dollar spent.
Exactly. It's a punchy way to like demonstrate the value of what you're about to discuss.
Right.
And makes them want to learn more about how to tap into that kind of return.
Makes sense. What other hook techniques does the chapter recommend?
Another one is to tell a captivating story. Humans are wired for stories, and a well-told anecdote can create an emotional connection and make your message more memorable.
So instead of just launching into like the technical details of how to build an email list, I could start by telling a story about a client who like doubled their sales.
Yeah.
By using a specific email marketing strategy.
Exactly. It personalizes the information, makes it relatable, and shows the potential impact of what you're teaching.
I love that. Stories are so powerful. They make the information come alive. Are there any other approaches the chapter mentions?
It also suggests using visuals to enhance your hook.
Okay.
A strong image.
Yeah.
Or like a short animation can instantly capture attention.
Yeah.
And convey a message in a way that like words alone just can't.
So if my video is about, say, creating stunning Instagram graphics, I might start with a quick montage of eye-catching visuals to like hook people in.
Exactly. It's about showing, not just telling.
Right.
Visuals can be incredibly powerful for grabbing attention and making your message more engaging.
This is making me think about all the different ways you can like play with hooks.
Yeah.
It's not just about the information you present, but like how you present it. It's like you're directing a mini movie.
Yes.
In those first few seconds of your video.
That's a great way to think about it. You're setting the stage, building anticipation, and making them want to see what happens next.
I bet this also ties back to like knowing your audience. The type of hook that works for a group of like tech-savvy entrepreneurs might be totally different from what works for a group of artists, right?
Absolutely. The most effective hooks are tailored to the specific interests and needs of your target audience. It's about understanding what will resonate with them and using that knowledge to create a hook that's both compelling and relevant.
So if I'm making a video for people who are passionate about cooking, I might use a hook that involves like mouth-watering food visuals or a story about a culinary triumph.
Exactly. It's about tapping into their passions
And
using imagery and language that speaks directly to their interests.
this is making me realize that like creating a great hook, it's a bit of an art form.
It is.
It requires creativity, strategy, and a deep understanding of your audience.
It does. But it's an art form worth mastering. A compelling hook can make all the difference in the success of your video. It can be the difference between someone scrolling past your content or stopping to watch, engage, and ultimately take action.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of different hook techniques, but there's one thing I'm still wondering about, like how long should the hook be? Is there a magic number of seconds?
There's no hard and fast rule, but most experts agree that shorter is better. You want to capture attention quickly and get to the point before viewers lose interest.
So we're talking like 5 to 10 seconds max.
That's a good rule of thumb. Aim to deliver your hook within the first few seconds of your video to maximize its impact.
I'm starting to see how this whole intro sequence is like a carefully choreographed dance.
Yeah.
You've got your attention-grabbing question, your compelling hook, and everything has to like flow together seamlessly to keep the viewer engaged.
That's a great analogy. It's about creating a rhythm and a pacing that keeps the viewer hooked from the very first frame.
You mentioned earlier that testing and refining is crucial. How do you know if your hook is actually working? What should you be looking for?
Pay attention to your video analytics.
Yes.
Are people watching past the first few seconds? Are they dropping off at a certain point? That data can give you valuable insights into what's working and what's not.
So it's not just about gut feeling. You got to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And let the data guide your decisions.
Exactly. Data can tell you a lot about your audience's behavior and preferences. It can help you understand what resonates with them, what keeps them engaged, and what makes them click away.
I'm also wondering about the role of like sound and music in hooks. Can those elements like enhance the effectiveness of a hook?
Absolutely. Sound effects, music, and even like voiceover can add an extra layer of engagement and help to set the tone and mood of your video.
So if I'm making a video about, say, travel tips, I might start with some upbeat music and the sound of a plane taking off to create a sense of like excitement and adventure.
Exactly. It's about creating an immersive experience that draws the viewer in and makes them feel like they're part of the story.
This has been eye-opening. So much more goes into creating a compelling video intro than I ever realized.
It's definitely a craft, but by understanding the principles we've discussed and being willing to experiment and refine your approach, you can create video intros that hook viewers from the very first second and keep them engaged until the very end.
This is pretty amazing, how much strategy goes into like just those first few seconds of a video. It's like setting the stage for a captivating performance. Speaking of strategy, we've touched on a lot of tactics from Chapter 6. But I'm curious about the bigger picture, Does the chapter offer any advice on like how to integrate these hook-worthy questions into like a broader content strategy?
It does. It really emphasizes that a great intro question is just one piece of the puzzle. You need to make sure it aligns with your overall content goals and the message you're trying to convey.
So it's not just about being like catchy or clever for the sake of it. The question like needs to serve a purpose.
Exactly. It should act as a bridge between your video's title and like the content itself. Think of it as a way to like pique interest and set the right expectations for what the viewer is about to learn.
So like if my video is about time management tips for busy moms, my intro question should directly relate to that topic. And lead seamlessly into the tips I'm about to share.
Exactly. You wouldn't want to start with a question about, say, financial planning and then jump into time management. That would feel like really jarring and disjointed.
That makes perfect sense. It's all about like creating a cohesive experience, that flows naturally from start to finish.
Right. And the chapter also highlights the importance of consistency. If you're using hook-worthy questions in your video intros, make it like a consistent element of your content style. This helps to establish a recognizable brand identity and makes your videos more predictable for your viewers.
So it's kind of like creating a signature move. People come to expect it and look forward to it.
Exactly. It becomes part of your brand's DNA and helps to differentiate you from other creators in your niche.
I'm also curious about how this approach to video intros like ties back to SEO. We've talked about the importance of, keywords and optimization. Does the chapter address that at all?
It does. It emphasizes that while your primary focus should be on engaging your viewers, you can also strategically incorporate like relevant keywords into your intro questions and hooks.
So it's about finding that balance between like being audience focused and search engine friendly.
Exactly. By using keywords that people are actually searching for. You can increase the chances of your videos like showing up in search results, which can lead to more views and engagement.
That's so smart. It's like hitting two birds with one stone. Capturing attention, A&D, boosting your visibility. Any other SEO tips the chapter mentions?
It suggests optimizing your video titles and descriptions to like align with the keywords you're using in your intro questions. This helps to create a consistent message across all your video elements and makes it easier for search engines to understand what your video is about.
This is making me realize how interconnected all these elements are. It's like weaving a tapestry. Every thread contributes to like the overall beauty and strength of the finished product.
That's a beautiful analogy. And it's a reminder that a successful content strategy involves careful planning and attention to detail.
Okay, so we've talked about aligning intro questions with content goals, being consistent, incorporating keywords, and optimizing titles and descriptions. Anything else we should keep in mind as we wrap up our deep dive into hook-worthy questions?
One last thing that the chapter touches on is the importance of like tracking your results. And making adjustments as needed.
So it's not just a set it and forget it kind of deal. We've got to be data-driven.
Exactly. Pay attention to your video analytics, see which intro questions are performing best, and be willing to like tweak your approach based on what you learn.
That makes sense. The online world is constantly changing. So we have to be adaptable and evolve our strategies to stay ahead of the game.
Right. And by using data to guide our decisions, we can make sure our video intros are always as effective as possible.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. I feel like I've unlocked a secret weapon, for creating engaging video content.
I'm glad to hear that. Remember, a well-crafted intro question is just the beginning. By combining it with a compelling hook, a clear message, and a strategic approach to SEO, you can create videos that capture attention, build a loyal following, and achieve your content goals.
This has been incredible. A really great deep dive into the art of crafting hook-worthy questions. I'm really excited to put all these strategies into practice and see how they impact, my own videos.
I have no doubt you'll see amazing results. And remember, the journey to content creation success is an ongoing one.
Right.
Keep learning, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep creating content that you're passionate about.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Deep Dive. We will see you next time for another exploration into the world of knowledge and insights. Until then, happy creating.